Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Dude with the Dream. So today I'm gonna be talking about TSA. And if you guys don't know what TSA is, it's basically Transportation Security Administration. If you guys have traveled, you guys know they're the security in blue. And this agency is basically in charge of making sure every single person is screened before they get into the plane. And I worked for TSA for about 2.5 years or so. When I worked there, I used to work in both Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. One common question when I first started working there was why security? That was my first big boy job when it comes to like doing 40 hours per week or having a normal job. And basically, I had graduated from St. John's University. For me, it was just a way to experiment something else because I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do, to be honest. I had graduated and there were just so many ways to go after graduation. Long story short, I've always liked the military, but going through TSA kind of gave me that feeling of like working for the government, and that's something I've always wanted to do. Contrary to most people, I actually like the uniform. Like, it just made me feel like I'm part of something bigger. The whole thing was just a really nice experience for me. Of course, there's like some bad things I didn't like, which I'll explain down the line in this video. Also, yeah, disclaimer, I'm not gonna be sharing like any private things if that's what you guys are looking for. It's just basically my experience with TSA in case any of you are looking to go that route. For me, I would give it a thumbs up. But like I said, I was only there for 2 years and a half. I decided to leave just because I wanted to pursue other opportunities. So yeah, let's get into it. I applied, and I think it took me about 1 month or so to get through like the medical. Yes, you need to take a medical. You need to get a doctor's approval. You need to take a test where basically they say that you're capable, I guess, to do the job. And I think we have to do like an eye exam and all that, but that's all part of medical. It's like eye exam, physical exam, and then there's phase 2 where they actually do the interview with you. For this job, it was just like so much paperwork. It was like I felt like there was no end. The whole process was a month. That is because at the time I think they were like very low staff and were looking to hire anyone that's qualified as soon as possible. But when I did get to my first class, I did meet a lot of guys. Said that it took them like 3 months, and like sometimes it gets even pushed back even more because there's like issues with their medical, or they need a doctor's approval for like eyesight or something, or maybe they don't pass the physical. So it's like things like that that may delay the process. But once you get hired, like I mentioned, it's 2 weeks of orientation. We went to their offices and we went to a room that was set up like a classroom, and basically they just presented every day for I think 8 hours. They just gave us PowerPoints and like do this, don't do that kind of deal, and basically explain what the different levels are in TSA and all that good stuff. And then right after that, I think we had to take a exam in order to like actually be like go on the floor. For me, the position that I look forward to the least was probably they call it the DO position. Like I said, this is all online. Anyone that's traveled, you guys know there's a guy who's by the tables, and he basically gives you guys instructions. Most people would say they yell at you, but no, they're like giving you guys instructions like do this, don't do that, like take your shoes off, take your belt off, everything out of your pockets.
Is that a full-size shampoo bottle?
People still forget to do it. So basically, I didn't want to do that spot because it was just like I don't like raising my voice. But eventually I did it, and it's not so bad. It's just like a lot of a lot of instruction giving with a really loud voice. For the most part, I had pretty good interactions with my coworkers, so that wasn't an issue. So for me, at least, the scheduling was not so good, And what I mean by that is basically it was either you work in the mornings or in the afternoons. And when I say mornings, I mean like I was up like at 2 a.m. and I had to be clocked in sometimes at 2:45 or at 3, and they're like really strict about timing because I mean they have to be, because if you're not there, then who's gonna screen the passengers? If you're not there, the passengers are gonna be late because they have to get screening. And overall, I think I only got like three warnings, which is not so bad. So once I got into the rhythm of things and I understood how it worked and I felt comfortable, that's when I started like raking in overtime. And TSA, at least back then, they were really open to giving overtime. It wasn't like something that is, oh, are they gonna give it to me or not? It's like, how much do I want to work? Because I was doing like a whole bunch of hours. Like, I don't even want to do the math right now, but it was basically 12 hours a day. Yeah, actually, there was a limit, but that's because they don't want to overwork you. Otherwise, like something bad could happen, like you missed a bag or something. So, good job on that part. I think starting pay was about 19, maybe 20 bucks an hour when I got there. But what they did have also on top of the pay, well, they had locality pay, meaning that if the cost of living is higher in Minnesota than it is in a different state, it may be higher or lower depending on where you're working at. And for Minnesota, I think it was like 20%, so that brought me up to like 22 or 23 an hour, which is not too bad for like to start. I was doing 12 hours every day, and I believe I found out like all the maxes because I worked a lot. So you're able to work 12 hours per day, and you're required to have at least one day off per week. And I maxed those hours out. I was a few weeks away from finishing my goal, but unfortunately that's when COVID hit and overtime was gone because there's no passengers coming in the airport anymore. So why do they need extra hands? But to keep the video short, basically there was no more overtime and I was pretty bummed out about it. Once the airport volume started picking up again and everything went back to normal, I just fell into this weird moment in my life where I just wasn't sure that I was at the right place. Because my plan at the time was to just like keep moving up the ladder or the ranks. When I first started, I had like one stripe. That means that you're a level 1 officer. If you see 2 stripes, that means that you're a lead. Or maybe when you go next time to the airport, you'll notice it. Because like when I used to be a regular traveler, I used to not notice these kind of things. But now that I been working there and travel a little bit more, I start noticing these things. So if you see 1 stripe, that means they're like level 1. Level 2 is basically the lead. They're in charge of like a team. And then their supervisor, of course, in charge of the leads. When I got there, I was positive and I wanted to move up the ranks. I eventually wanted to do lead, supervisor, and all that stuff. But after COVID happened, I just didn't feel well anymore and something in my mind changed. So I finally left. Also, I forgot to mention that basically, I think once you completed like, I think it was 3 months on the floor, you get flown out to like a training camp. For me, they sent us to Georgia. That's where I learned how to do x-rays, pat downs, bag checks, and all the level 1 stuff. So that was pretty fun, interesting, something I've never experienced before. So basically, when I used to work there and do bag checks, one of the common things that used to happen was I would have to take some things away from passengers. And that was uncomfortable sometimes because that could have been avoided. And just one thing that you guys should know, if you guys don't know yet, is just make sure that all liquids and gels are under the 3.4 ounces or smaller. And what does that mean? If you look at these labels, they tell you this cream is 2 ounces basically. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. And then you just have to look at the bottle. Like it's not that hard. And now we're gonna look at these 2 bottles. Look. All right. So you see this one, same size. Difference, the ounces. This bottle is 3.4 ounces. This bottle is 4 ounces. This one, they might pull it out because it does look big, but if you just show them that it's 3.4 ounces, they'll let it go because the limit is 3.4 ounces. This one, they'll take it away. Most people want to argue, well, it's halfway, it's not 3.4 ounces. Well, per the rule book, we have to take it away anything that says over 3.4 ounces. That's the rule. Now let's look at this. Can you take this? No. But if it's empty, you can take it through. There's water fountains inside, so just take an empty water bottle. I know water bottles can be expensive inside, so just take an empty water bottle through the airport security and just refill it once you get inside. Save yourself a couple of bucks. And when I'm talking about these 3 things, I'm talking about your carry-on. Your carry-on is like your backpack, the things that is gonna go with you inside your seating area in the plane. Not on your big bags. Your big bag is another story. In your big bag, you can take almost anything, basically. All this, it doesn't matter what size it is. If you can fit in your bag, you can put it in. You can even put this in your big bag. and nothing will happen. It's a big bottle. As long as you fit it in correctly and you disclose it to customs once you get to wherever you go, you should be fine. The only thing I'm talking about is your carry-on bag. Like I said, your backpack and stuff like that. Oh, and lastly, what I want to say is that when you do go to the airport and you don't want to get yelled at by the TSA agent, is basically just listen to the person on the line that you're going through. Whichever line you're going to, there's gonna be a person talking, and if they're not talking, tell them, hey, what do I have to do? And basically, listen to that line. Maybe 3 lines down, they're saying take your shoes off. That doesn't mean your line has to take your shoes off. Just listen to the person in front of you and focus on that. That's it. It won't get easier than that. So yeah, basically my overall experience in TSA would be probably 7 out of 10. Like in most jobs, the pay gets better the longer you stay. There is a whole bunch of benefits working for the government. You get good health insurance, you get like good TSP. But for sure, if you're like in high school and don't know if you want to go to college or what do you want to do in your life, I would definitely recommend to apply to TSA and get your feet wet. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't, but at least you tried it, and it's a good career. It's gonna give you as much as you put in. And yeah, so if you have any questions, just DM me. If you don't have my number, just comment down there. Any questions or whatever you have, and I'll reach out back to you. Overall, TSA treated me well, and I'm glad I got that experience just because I feel like I'll never get that kind of experience again. And I know what it's like to wake up at 2 a.m. or go to sleep at 6 p.m. because I have a early shift, or maybe stay up till like 3 a.m. because I have a afternoon shift, because sometimes I would clock in like at 1 p.m. So it's like it all depends, and there's like so many things that I can just go on about, but I don't want to make this video too long. So like I said, anyone interested, go ahead. I encourage you to do it. It's definitely a good starting point for anyone that does want to work in law enforcement and stuff like that, because eventually once you do like a year or two in there, you can start looking at other options. I know that some people after a year or two, they went on to be like CVP officers. So if you made it this far into the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. This is Do With The Dream checking out. Peace.